The only word I had to describe my disgust is jinkies. If there is one thing the internet agrees on, it's that you should never change anything ever. I hope you die.
What is the point in making a show just to insult the people that are already familiar with the property? What is the point? Their opening line is just insulting the viewer or someone that already likes Scooby-Doo in general.
Hello and welcome. Today, of course, we're going to talk about Velma on the HBO Max. My God, this trailer dropped. It's gotten nothing but dislikes since it dropped. And it has nothing to do with the actual nuances that they're changing the characters' backgrounds, heritage, their skin color, or anything like that. It's the fact that it does a slap in the face to the people that know the stuff, that know who Scooby-Doo is, that know what this show is supposed to be like. They take the character of Velma, and instead of building on her being smart, intellectual, they try and put her in a box, give her some check marks, and continue to tell the story.
Like the fog is so thick you can cut it with a knife.
Well, whatever. I don't see a problem with them making this a whole race swap situation. That's not part of Velma's story. That's not what made her who she was. Velma is supposed to be this sidekick to Scooby-Doo, being upfront with the whole thing. The fact that they're coming out with a show about Velma and not Scooby-Doo is kind of disheartening at the core of it all. It kind of makes you think you've walked into an alternate reality. You've walked into the Twilight Zone. The scary door has opened its way.
Prepare to enter the scary door.
So, of course, you got people coming out. You got a ton of people talking about this show. Mindy Kaling reacts to backlash surrounding Velma being reimagined as South Asian in new series. Okay, so apparently, instantly, the second people see her, they go, why is she no longer white? Well, in the opening sequence, they make a reference to Judy Jetson of the Jetsons, how she's still being played by a white girl and all this stuff, throwing all of this shade right at you, right out of the gate, and you have to sit there and wrap your head around this and go, are you serious? This is where we're going with this. This is what you're introducing the show as. A race-swapped, check-mark, absolute woke purgating piece of crap of a show. You're throwing it right out there in front of everyone, and no one wants this. No one wants to be throwing this right in their face and then slapped around and say, you're going to like it, otherwise you're a racist.
Man, fucking yikes. Holy shit.
Because of that take from MoistCr1tikal, he's come under a lot of flack. People are saying, oh, this is a white guy take. The guy's not even fully wouldn't be considered white, much the same like me. I am of mixed heritage. This show is just a travesty and a slap in the face to the original people that made the show. Scooby-Doo, created back in the time where people sat around their couches and their sofas, got high as a freaking kite, and then they turn around and write out this show. And you know what? It worked for the time. But now we're getting this new show. They're slapping in the face of everyone, and now I'm hearing that Scooby-Doo isn't even in the show?
We wanted to be respectful. We didn't want to just kind of take these beloved characters and put them in outrageous or gross situations and say, like, isn't it crazy we did that to Velma? So when we were thinking about what made it a kid's show, what makes it an adult show, the dog, Scooby, is what really seemed to, we couldn't get a take on it. That was like, how do we kind of do this in a fun, modern way? That coincided, it felt like what made it a kid's show was Scooby-Doo. That coincided with Warner Brothers Animation saying, hey, you can't use the dog.
That clip came from Variety as they talk about the show at New York Comic Con. So they take Scooby-Doo out because they don't want it to be a kid's show. Even though Scooby-Doo has always revolved around adult situations and has adult humor throughout the show, throughout the existence of the show. Scooby-Doo was thrown in there to sell toys originally. So much like we see with like He-Man and other shows like Transformers, there's always been adult humor in these things, but depending on what level you're making it at, HBO Max going the full robot chicken route and trying to actually downplay the amount of sexual innuendos we see, and then removing Scooby-Doo from the show. You're taking Scooby completely out of the show. It's the whole purpose of the show. Why in the world would you even make the show about a beloved character spin-off of Scooby-Doo? It makes no sense anymore. You remove it, it's done. Why still call it Scooby-Doo at this point? Why even bring up Velma? Why even bring up Shaggy? Why change the cast? Why not just make your own show and move on to that? When I first saw all this stuff, I was like, okay, this has to be an alternate reality. This has to be. It's not Scooby-Doo. It's not Velma. It's not Daphne. It's not Fred. It's not Shaggy in the way we know them, and it's a complete and total rewrite and just changing it and then naming them as the people that we once knew. Like, just shit on the fans some more, will ya?
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
So now I'm also seeing the cast of this show. You know what? I don't care about the cast. You guys can play them all you want, but they're now drawing the characters. Fred staying as a white kid. Delphine is apparently Asian now. And Norville, aka Shaggy, because Norville's his actual name, they've race swapped Shaggy as well and removed his beloved pet Scooby-Doo. What is this? This isn't a show. This is absolute crap. Another crap show coming out from HBO at this point. This isn't. Are they still going to focus on mystery, or are they going to focus on someone's Twitter post? Reddit just come down off their mountain, and the mods decided to unban everyone, and this is the shit that gets pulled out. Like, I was originally going to ignore this story, but this thing is blowing up beyond what it is, and I no longer can just ignore it. Tragedy of a story of a complete and utter disregard for the original fan content, for the original content in itself. And this is also on the backs of how in the newest Trick or Treat version of Scooby-Doo, how Velma all of a sudden is all hot and bothered every time she sees this female villain in the show, and it just happens to be where that becomes all of her character instead of her being smart, intellectual, logical thinking. And apparently in this new one, she has the hots for Fred. So they've thrown these two things and they're mashing them against the wall, right? And the spaghetti monster's coming off the wall going blah, 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 blah. Like that's what this is now. That's what this has become. It's absolutely ridiculous at this point. Every single thing in Hollywood, every single thing, every cartoon doesn't need a rework to it anymore. It doesn't. There is nothing that's shocking in the world anymore. Nothing shocks anybody. We've all been desensitized from this stuff so much at this point. You sit there and go, this isn't normal. This is just become beyond cringe. This is just something that no one cares about anymore. You want to race swap your characters? Go right ahead. Do it. But don't do it in such a way that you're doing it in name alone and just race watching them to checking these boxes for shareholders, to be progressive in that sense, doesn't do anyone any favors. It makes you a racist, and it will just turn things. It just, everyone sits there and gets upraged about it and sits there and goes, why are you doing this? No one asked for this. No one wants this. We want to see a show that we know and love, and you're trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was perfect in the first place.
So I reluctantly agreed to design a room where people would be fired, but I was determined to make it my own.
You into a new life.
I love it. Can you add some of these touches to the existing 18th floor ETR as well?
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm thinking this wall.
You're fired.
What?
I wanted this room, this exact room, 2 floors up.
So why try and take what works and completely turn it on its head. Anyway, guys, this is Proud Canadian Phoenix Cindershadow signing off here. Have yourselves a great day. I hope you enjoyed this little one. It's frustrating at times because all you want to sit there and do is hopefully report on a show that's going to be great and do good, but no one wants that. Everyone wants the rage, and without the rage, there is no show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.